Of the road for Sonko. So Sonko is still fighting. He's moved to the East African Court of Justice to challenge that particular ruling by the Supreme Court. And of course, that Supreme Court upheld the ouster of Nairobi Governor. That was about 2 years ago. Through its Mombasa County Returning Officer, Swala Ibrahim, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission revoked the clearance certificate it had issued to Sonko last week, citing that particular letter and, of course, attributing it to the Supreme Court. And on June 7th, Ibrahim qualified Sonko for breach of Article 75 of the Constitution, prompting him to challenge the decision. And we know how this story has gone from all the way the court ruling from the High Court to the Supreme Court, back to the IBC, his revocation. Is this the end of the road for Sonko, politically speaking?
No, it's not the end of the road, because he can actually vote in politicians of his choice, either in Mombasa or wherever he wants to do. He can participate in the voting process. But a basic review of the judgment by the Supreme Court,
right? And
because it's very complicated, they took time to offer a one-page document, advising journalists and the media on how to cover the story.
Right.
And I've spoken to legal scholars, people who understand the Constitution, and that Dr. Ojwang is around. They can even cement it further. The Supreme Court of Kenya is not subordinate to any other court in the world. When the Supreme Court of Kenya has pronounced itself on any aspect, it's a wrap. So even if you go to the East African Court of Justice, you'll be wasting your time. In any event, you've been told, the Kenyan authorities have been given 45 days. So 45 days will probably be looking at who is joining the cabinet if there is no runoff. Number two, the Supreme Court has done what members of the National Assembly failed to do, because they were told to enact a piece of legislation. They came up with the Leadership and Integrity Act, which was watered down so as to create room for mischief. And the judges indicated that Chapter 6 is not a provision which is a cosmetic, that you just look at it and then you say, okay, there's something around here. In my view, what the Supreme Court has done is something which is acceptable. We need to give them a pat on the back so that our elected leaders start treating Kenyans with respect. If our leaders were treating Kenyans with respect, they will not be offering this kind of subsidies they're doing on oil and on ugali. They would treat us with more respect. That when you've been given a position like Sonko was given, it's not a factor of production. You're supposed to go there and serve the people of Nairobi. So for me, I think this is the end of the road, at least for the next 10 years. But he can participate actively in politics, elect leaders of his choice. And this should be a warning to voters. In the next 20 days, as we go to cast our ballots, there are many more Kenyans who are about to make this kind of mistake. When you look at the people who have offered themselves for positions.
In 2017, you had you had Martha Karua, who was, vying for the gubernatorial seat in Kirinyaga. She went up to the East African Court of Justice, and she actually got reprieve from there. So isn't this sort of like setting a precedent for Sonko, who is also seeking, that recourse at the court?
Well, Shimi, I've gotten some reprieve, but what did it change? You cannot get, this law will assist us, but a plain reading of the Kenyan Constitution, the Supreme Court of Kenya has got the last word on any dispute in Kenya. You can go to ICC, you can go to Hague, you can go to Arusha, you can go to my home in Mosocho. You can dance on top of any mountain. But at the end of the day, when the Supreme Court has pronounced itself, it's a wrap. The only option he may have is requested them to review their own decision. And I think also that is buying time. He's hoping that in the process of reviewing their decision, he'll go back to the High Court and say, wait a minute, the Supreme Court is reviewing that decision, so allow me to run.
Right.
But by the time you rise to become a judge at the Supreme Court, you understand the law, you understand politics, and you understand the mischief associated with it.
Right.
So there's a very high chance that the Supreme Court, if they accept to review, if they accept that review, they can review it in a minute and offer judgment in a minute. And we must run away, because our elected leaders have perfected the art of using the judicial system to engage in mischief. Like, for instance, there are people who are not qualified to run for particular positions, but you know they run to the High Court, they get orders. I don't know, they're called conservatory orders and all these kind of things. So they clash on the law to remain in office.
All right.
And Mora, I mean the voter Mora Wanjiko and Nafula, they must start punishing these people because the CS responsible for Interior, Dr. Matiang'i, indicated that so many people who are suspected to be in wash who want to run for political office. Now, if we vote in an emotional and irrational manner, we are going to have many kind of Sonkos, and then we are going to have many more of NMS replicated across the nation.
Okay, let me hear Elachi's, Madam Elachi's sentiments on this whole issue. I know you've worked with Mr. Sonko before.
And suffered.
I don't know who suffered.
Did you suffer?
I don't know who suffered.
I mean, don't you recall at some stage our office?
Well, for Sonko, I think there are two things. First of all, Kenyans, do you really want Chapter 6? It's a question Kenyans must answer. The lawyers must answer that question because it's very unfair when you have a clear chapter within your own constitution that can guide a country, that can bring order to a country in terms of governance, in terms of all of us just respecting public office and public resources and how we deal with public office. But because Kenyans, we've decided we are a very litigant country where we want everything, even the one you've read, the lawyers will just change just one word and say, no, 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 no. Because when I look at the whole thing, so, and first of all, I don't know what is the application of Sonko now. I don't know whether it is to vie for governor or the removal of his impeachment from Senate first. You see, that I think what he needs to push first is that this impeachment should go away so that it opens doors for not just, if you don't become a governor of Mombasa, you can still work in public office. Right. So I even don't know now what the case is. Is it that he has to vie as governor? Okay. Then if that's the case, then it's a case that can come and another case can come in because somebody can still go and say, no, you were impeached by the Senate. You have not even removed and you want to go on this. So first of all, I think the Supreme Court dealt with one matter. You were impeached by the Senate and the impeachment stays. So until you go to another court, which I don't know which one, you see, you cannot go to the East African court to talk about your political issues that are embedded within the Constitution. That the Senate will impeach, and when the governor is impeached, you cannot run for office until 10 years are over. So those are some of the things. So for me, I would say this. I think even the lawyers I can see, senior is there. I am wondering, really? Or is it just, you know, one of the things also as lawyers, they should start asking also, as we move on, is that will I really want to just be paid for the sake of being paid, or will I want to be paid where I know I am within the law and I'm guiding my client within the law? Okay. That the law says this. We can go for this, but we can try our best to ensure this happens. Okay. But not just for the sake. It doesn't look good. Especially now when they become very senior. Right. Yeah, right. because they are role models to many other people.